Hey everybody, it's Peter, and this is the 2026 Royal Enfield 350 Classic, but not just the regular Classic. This thing is the Goan Classic, and I don't even know if I'm saying that word right. We'll talk about where it comes from in a second. But what this is the most visually interesting motorcycle I've seen here, and it's incredibly affordable, and it's also affordable for a new rider on new insurance and that kind of thing. This is a little 350cc single from Royal Enfield, which is kind of their thing. That's what they kind of made their name with. But the idea with this Goan model is apparently it's from a Goa or Goa region of India. I'm not really familiar with India. I'm only beginning to fall in love with their bikes. I own a Royal Enfield myself. But what this was is an area where they used to customize, or they still do customize bikes tremendously in India. And that's what this is a factory custom version of the classic bike. Now, traditionally the classic bike from Royal Enfield is sort of old-fashioned looking. This one, I don't know if it's old-fashioned looking or what it is, but it is super, super cool. So I'm filming here at Rally Motorplex. They give me complete access to their entire motorcycle lineup, and I can come back to bikes again and again. If any of that sounds interesting, there's a ton of brands here, and I film as many motorcycle brands as we can. I'm gonna film every 2026 model that I possibly can. Some of them we're gonna come back to multiple times. And if that sounds interesting, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. And if you really want to help my channel grow, just find a couple videos you like, watch them to the end, and that helps my channel grow. The more it grows, the more access I get to really cool bikes, and we can do more things. 2026 is going to be a big year. But we're still in 2025, filming 2026 bikes. Let's talk about what this one is. So I'm filming in a really tight area today because there are a lot of Royal Enfields here, but I want to show you this classic right here, the green one. We're going to zoom in. We're not going to pull it out for you, but you can see chrome everywhere. Very classic styling, traditional handlebar shape there. And if you can zoom in even further here, we're going to see a really cool sparkle to the green paint there. That is a traditional classic. This is essentially the same bike, but check it out. You've got a whole different handlebar angle. You've got a whole bunch of different features. So it's not just a style package. It actually functions different than the regular 350 Classic. We're gonna show you all that as we go in. First thing we're gonna do though is put it in a class. So what is the class of this? Let's talk about that. So a lot of Royal Enfield bikes kind of don't fall into the traditional class. Royal Enfield's been doing their own thing without really a lot of the influence from some of the Japanese makes, from some of the European makes. So they really ended up doing their own thing. The class of bike this is a 350cc single cylinder, is a beginner type bike. It's not going to be overly powerful. Now, if you're looking for an overly powerful bike, you can get those, but the reality is a lot of us like riding on those 50 mile per hour, 80 kilometer an hour roads all throughout North America here, and that's where this bike is going to shine. It's also going to shine for in-town use, and no matter what size motorcycle you have, in-town use is not something that every motorcycle does well, and that 50 mile per hour, 80 kilometer an hour type of roads, those speed limit type roads, is where a lot of us want to do a lot of our riding, and that's where this thing is going to be perfect. So it is small displacement, but you're getting a ton of style, and you can get a brand new bike under warranty for, you know, way better price than you can get some of these used bikes, and you don't have to customize it up. You can start right like this and have a conversation piece, which is what you want. Head out to the coffee shop, have something that's cool, have something that's fun to talk about, have something that sounds cool as well, and have something that's unique. Royal Enfield is the only continuous motorcycle brand that has been making motorcycles since 1901. So there's some history and some fun stuff to talk about here as well. But let's talk about the front wheel first. We'll work our way through the components of this bike and show you what makes it special and different from the classic 350. So the first thing we have to do is look at the front fender here, the front wheel. I always say you can tell the manufacturer's intent by looking at the front wheel, and this one may be a slight exception because you see some interesting things. I mean, the manufacturer's intent is clear here. They want to create a premium bike for an appropriate price. So appropriate price-wise, you have a fairly standard transmission here, that kind of thing. You do have pretty cool white wall tires that are gonna just, you know, stand out compared to anything on the road today. People are gonna see this bike and ask you what year it is, and you're gonna say 2026, and they're not gonna think 2026 bike. You do have modern brakes. That's one thing to keep in mind. A lot of cruisers have crappy brakes. This one is more of a cruiser style bike to me, but it does have the modern bi-brake brakes, which is by Brembo. So these are quality brakes, especially for the class. You only have a single disc. That's all you need for a bike of this weight. One thing that's interesting here that I did not expect till I got down here, you have spoked wheels. Spoked wheels are for style. You also see spoked wheels on adventure bikes that are very strong. one thing you don't usually see is these are tubeless capable. So these are, the spokes don't go inside here, they come out to the outside here. What that means is you can run tubeless tires. A lot of people want to do that, which means you're gonna have a fully modern tire here. So some interesting, you know, combination of classic style and, you know, retro style for sure, with some very modern components and really blended in very well. So let's keep moving our way back. Taking a look at the heart of this bike, one thing you're going to notice with this Classic 350 is it's kind of a upright engine. So again, single cylinder. A lot of bikes kind of tilt their engine down, tilt it a little bit more for weight distribution, for pure out sporty riding, that kind of thing. This thing is not a heavy bike. A lot of the weight's down low anyways, so you don't have to do anything crazy to, you know, go to modern standards. It is an air-cooled engine, so again, simplicity is cool. The other thing is, for a 350cc, this thing sounds really cool. They've sort of tuned it for sound. You've got rubber foot pegs here, rubber brake pad here. I'm going to show you that in just a second. There's some cool things there. The blacked out everything here. I also want to show you the tank up close in a second and the badging there. There's some cool details. Again, what makes a bike cool looking is the minor visual interest pieces in it. So you have to kind of take a look at the bike up close to see that. So let's just do that right now. So I'm trying to find the right angle to capture this here. You can see some of my reflection in here, but this is kind of a mirrored finish on a matte finish. Now it's all very smooth feeling. There's some obviously decaling on there. The same thing is on the top of the tank, where you have this sort of mirrored finish on the sort of matte black finish. And then you have this gold type logo for the Royal Enfield logo. And I'm sure that's plastic, but yeah, it sounded almost metal just when I hit it on the tank there. So again, very cool, visual, interesting stuff. Nobody really knows what this bike is. And then they do a couple of the little things down here. They have the same type of mirrored and black finish, which again, I'm gonna fully admit it's not showing up as well on camera as it is in person. Then you have this two-tone sort of silver and black area down here. Again, visually interesting stuff. You have the Classic 350, or the Goan Classic 350 panel here with, again, that mirrored type finish there. All kinds of little things that are purely about style. But if you come down here further, we're just gonna try to keep it on the same shot here. You can see typical Royal Enfield stuff embossed in the casing there. But then you have, what I like is, again, the rubber foot pegs here and a little bit of a functionality thing here. So you have this bar up here. I was just looking at the Triumph bike, and it had the same thing for their Scrambler 400 XC, excuse me. A little bit of a way, so when you put your foot onto that brake pedal, you can go right over. You're not going to hit your exhaust. You're not going to drag your toe in there. It's going to stop you, and you can make sure your foot is exactly where it needs to be to hit that brake. So that's a little bit of a functional detail that's nice to have as well. There are some other functional details. In fact, I'm going to show you the opposite side foot peg right now that gives you a functional difference on this over the regular 350 Classic. So traditional motorcycles, especially small displacement motorcycles, tend to have the typical gear shift here. You have the gear shift there, but you also have a heel toe shifter. What that means, if you're wearing some nice shoes or you just want a different style riding, maybe you're wearing work boots, you can't fit your toes underneath there as much. You can of course press down here to shift down, or to move the lever down, depending on what you're doing. Or instead of going underneath here, you can use your foot, your heel of your foot, for the heel toe shifter to also shift up, which means you never have to scuff the toe of your shoes, whether you're wearing work boots or you don't want to scuff your shoes, or you just want a different feeling of riding. You can use that heel toe shifter, and again, that's all standard here. A couple of other functional features here. You've got this, oops, let's just come out a little bit here. You've got a center stand. So if side stand, of course, is typical, but the center stand is here as well. And that, of course, gives you some functionality for some chain maintenance, just for if you're parking on uneven ground, gravel, that kind of thing, gives you an extra couple points of contact there. I like to put that in my garage, put the center stand down in my garage. It makes the bike go a little bit more upright, takes up a little bit less space there. So some cool functionality there. Let's show you what it looks like with me on the bike right now. So jumping on this bike, I kind of love, there's a very limited back end here. It's got some modern pieces there, we'll show you in a second. Jumping on here, I'm about 6 feet tall. I always say you should never look at seat height. I mean, you can never fully rely on seat height to tell how comfortable you're going to be, because certain bikes have wider seats, narrower seats, that kind of thing, narrow bikes, wider bikes, and it can place you in different areas. So the way this is a little bit more forward control instead of underneath you. A little bit more forward control. Of course, that heel toe shifter is there. And of course, the regular Classic 350 has much lower handlebars, place you a little bit more forward. This one's just a chill, laid back kind of ride, and you can just kind of it's just more cruiser style feel. So it's got that classic look, but again, that custom classic look. Of course, if you want to move forward, you can tilt these handlebars forward or back, but it's not like the monkey handlebars that are monkey bars or whatever, they're gonna put you way up high. It's just a really upright, comfortable position. The other thing is the seat is unique on this bike. We'll show you some labeling on there, but it's also a bit of a firm seat. Now, generally speaking, some of these firmer seats, it's not firm as in hard, but those firmer seats are what you need for comfort on a longer run. I would bet that this thing will be very comfortable on a long run. Throw some bags on the back here, which we can show you how you can do that later, and you can take this thing on a long ride in a really comfortable, traffic-aware kind of riding position that's just kind of chilled and laid back. So again, as a 6-footer, definitely a cool bike. We're going to show you the controls right now as well. They're kind of cool. Take a look at the seat here. This is a sort of soft, I don't know, it's the leather feel to it. It's hard to explain. It's a smoother, but still got some texture to it. It looks like it would have more texture visually, but it's kind of smooth overall. Anyways, it feels cool. It looks cool. It looks higher end. You've got that Goan Classic 350. That's what that says on that little badge in there. It's reflective, it's mirror image, so it's kind of hard to maybe read. You can maybe read it there. Yeah, it's kind of hard to get the camera to focus on it. So we're going to come back out here for a second all the way. The other thing is you have these plastic hand guards here, or hand positions here. Now, this handle here is right there. You know what, let's just show you a different angle. All right, now we're functioning in a way we can see things. This handle here is going to fit my hand. That's where you could use to put this bike up on its center stand. Now, a lot of people are going to use these handles here, but you may want to swap out these handles to put some luggage on here. You'll still have this available. So again, this is, they looked plastic, but they sound metal to me. So again, solid feel there as well. So you've got a ability to add luggage on there simply because there are some hard bolt-on points. There's also some areas down there on the foot pegs, which we can maybe show you right if we go zooming in on the center of the screen. Yeah, right behind that foot peg there, another little mounting point there. So you could put some hard luggage on here, or some luggage of any kind on here with hard mounted points. So that's kind of nice to have. All right, we promised you the dash. Let's show you the dash. So taking a look at the dash, I love what Royal Enfield does here. On my Royal Enfield 450, the Himalayan, I have a full TFT display. It's a classic kind of look for a TFT display, but of course it wouldn't fit on this bike. So here you have the classic kind of like Ace of Spades kind of look with the shaping of the outside sort of trim here. And then inside there, you have the analog speedometer there. So again, kilometers an hour on top, miles per hour in the middle, because I'm filming here in Canada. You got the key over here, a digital area over here, and then this is what I really love. You do not have to mount your ugly cell phone, which does not match the style of this bike, in order to get some navigation. This will pair with your cell phone and give you Google Maps right there. Now on my bike, the bigger 4-inch display will give you, the TFT display can give you the Google Maps in there, but this one, they're not going to ruin the display. So you have your clock down here, which is obviously different. Oh, maybe it is the same time as that. There we go, just a 24-hour clock. You can change this up, but that's going to give you some Google Maps display. And of course, Google Maps are the most up-to-date maps in the world. It's going to use your cell phone as the navigation piece, but that is really helpful when you're zipping around places and finding places. And again, it fits into the look, because when you turn this bike off, it's just like a round little gauge. So turning it back on, let's zoom into what we actually have over here. And I want to show you this again, because there are very few bikes that use this tiny of a display as effectively. So again, no tachometer on this bike. That's common for a lot of cruisers, not a big deal. You can sort of feel how this bike goes. Clock down here, but you also have the gear indicator in there. So I believe 5-speed transmission here, and then you also have your fuel gauge in there. So that is a really nice basic thing to have your gear indicator and navigation capabilities in a classic looking dash with just the basics in there as well. I do want to show you the headlight for a quick second before we wrap up about who this bike is for. So taking a look at the headlight with the bike on. Now the bike's not running, so the actual headlight's not on there, but you do have these cool little LED lights up there, sort of marking lights, driving lights, in addition to your signal lights. Actually, we should show you all the controls here for a second too. LED lights, which I think fits the modern kind of feel of this bike. It looks like it's been customized a little bit, so you've got those modern lights in that classic kind of look. We'll just turn that off for a second there. I do want to show you the controls, but yeah, you also have this cool little visor here. Again, everywhere you look on this bike, there's a visually interesting piece. Even down here, you've got your Royal Enfield logo out front. So many cool little pieces. All right, we skipped over controls. Let's talk about them, and then we'll wrap up this video. All right, awkward angle to film here, but just stay with me. I'll hopefully be able to show you everything. First of all, this little knob, that's gonna adjust your clutch lever and your brake lever. You've got the same knobs on both sides there, so you can adjust the reach of that. If you've got short hands or if you just want the clutch to grab in a different spot, you've got that. You've got this little information button here, that little eye right there. Again, harder to see, just a little trigger button there. That can cycle through trip 1, trip 2, and back to your clock on that small digital display. So you have that there. Let's flip around to the front side right over here and show you that now. All right, we are gloss black in a darker environment here. So this is the typical controls from Royal Enfield for your high beams there, your standard lights there, and your flash to pass right there. You also have your signals here, you know, press to cancel, normal stuff, and then your horn down here. I do want to show you one thing on the opposite side though, because that is a nice feature to have. Throttle side, you're using the same type of control, but this is your kill switch. So that's off, and then you can start. So that's your kill switch and start switch. This down here is a hazard warning light. It's very nice to have hazard warning lights on any bike, especially as you're trying to figure out where you're going, you want to stop somewhere. Even if you're just like hitting the brakes, you want people to know that, hey, I'm stopped here. It's a bad visibility, maybe rain, whatever you're going through. It's nice to have hazard warning lights. So well-equipped bike for a small displacement bike, and that's one of the things with Royal Enfield. So let's talk about who this bike is for. Well, obviously if you want style, this thing's awesome, but I want to talk about this as a beginner bike because the Classic 350 here in North America is an amazing beginner bike. And one of the things I really look for in a beginner bike is a lot of you who are dreaming about owning a bike want to have something that has some style, that looks cool. Well, there's nothing that looks cooler than this in this displacement area, but it also gives you a bunch of things as a new rider that are really helpful. Having that classic style with the navigation built in and being able to, well, I say built in, it's going to use your phone to Bluetooth to that so you can keep your phone in your pocket, but having that available on the dash is a super helpful feature that you're just not going to find in any other classically styled bike. Anything with this much style and that much capability is not available, and not available for this price point. So you're getting something that is insurable for a new rider, that is not intimidating, but still gives you a cool sound, a really cool look, and a low seat height, a very manageable bike. You're sitting upright, you can face the traffic, and you look cool riding. Your style can fit with this bike, and you don't have to spend more money to customize it up to make it your own. Now, if you do customize it up, the general seating position of this bike is gonna allow you to put some bags on here if you wanna just take it for your daily running around and throw, you know, for me, your laptop, for you, whatever else, maybe a lunch or something like that. You can take that with you here as well. You can customize it up that way, but it becomes a very comfortable, practical bike. The more practical a bike is, like I said, if you throw some bags on here, the more you're gonna take it around to different stores, you're gonna take it to work and back, to school and back, whatever it is that you're doing. And that's one of the things that makes this thing cool, is it gives you the practical bike that a lot of us want new riders to have, simply because the more riding you do, the better you get at it, and the more practical it is, the more you can take it instead of the car or the bus or walk or whatever else. So it really does give you everything. Now, if you're a returning rider who just wants something with some style, doesn't want to spend a ton of money, this thing is pretty cool. I would totally buy one of these as my style bike, because you don't have to go up to an Indian or a Harley or all these big, you know, cool, you know, historic bikes that also happen to be a lot more money and a lot harder to handle. This thing gives you all the style to park out in front of a cafe. It's a conversation piece just sitting there. It gives you modern brakes, modern features, but all classic style. It's very, very cool. And you could get an exact same classic bike, not just the green one I showed you, but other styles of classic bike, and have a completely different looking bike, even though it shares the engine, is really sharing the name, sharing the basic components of this. So that's what makes this thing super cool. And that's what Royal Enfield does. They make really, really cool bikes, especially in that small displacement space, and just something you would want to own and want to keep. So there you go. Is this for you? Let me know in the comments below. I think this is probably one of the coolest cruisers I've seen, simply because of its affordability, feature set, and overall style. They just nail it. So there you go, Royal Enfield Classic, I don't even know how to say it, Goan Classic 350. Super cool bike, one of the coolest bikes I've seen here today.